Hi, I'm Tom Lydon, editor of ETF Trends here in Chicago at the Morningstar ETF Conference. And I'm here with Peter Thompson, president of Source, and industry ETF legend Kranefuss, who's executive chairman of Source. Gentlemen, thank you and congratulations on your big news.
Thank you, it's good to be here talking with you.
Well, listen, Lee, you were one of the founders of iShares and have had many, many years, too many to count right now as far as being in the business. Now here you are in a whole new platform, partnered with the folks at Source and Warburg Pincus to bring your expertise to the U.S. Give us a inkling of what that's all about.
Well, you're right, 15 years. I think the industry has more opportunity now than it did 15 years ago. Then we were laying the original foundation. Now there's an opportunity for some real motion forward in terms of products and providers. I think the industry's gotten pretty stale. And we're hoping to bring some of what we've got in Europe, the management team, the approach, and shake things up.
What do you mean by stale?
Well, I think the financial crisis slowed things down, but you look at it, to me, everyone has sort of accepted that the way it was 5 years ago, US ETF, the same in 5 years. It feels like the American auto industry in the 70s. There's three big players and everyone assumes that it's always going to be that way. I don't think it is. I think it's going to change.
So you're going to be the Tesla of the ETF marketplace.
Well, we may have to start somewhere earlier than that, but seriously, independent company, all we do is ETFs. We've got the management team and a different idea of partnering with others. It's the next generation model of running the business that's been working in Europe, and I think it's going to work here. Vertical integration, I think, outlived its usefulness in the industry.
Okay, so Peter, you in the 90s started Source, been very successful, one of the fastest growing ETF companies in Europe. How excited are you to partner with Lee and the folks at Warburg Pincus, and what's the intent of making the splash here in the U.S.?
Sure. I mean, listen, we're delighted to be here in Chicago, in the U.S. Getting us started in this market. We've been good at finding opportunity, I think, and that's what we've done in Europe. Built a track record on that, on partnership, on being focused on one business line, but with world-class partners and listening to clients and finding solutions. And here in this market, to us, an investor is an investor, whether he sits in Munich or Minneapolis. His objectives, what he needs to do, risk return, they're very similar things. And this market has embraced the ETF so fundamentally, that it's just incredibly exciting.
Well, already in the first launch that you had, this Eurostoxx 50 ETF, I mean, you chop the expense ratio down to 16 basis points, kind of really send a message to ETF providers here in the US, hey, there's some inefficiencies and we're going to look for those.
Yeah, well that's, I think that product is, that's the right price for it, right? It's a huge benchmark in Europe. It's unbelievably liquid and heavily traded and invested in. But, the prices Europe is trading for here, the way we look at it, it's not the right price. 16 basis points is what Europeans pay for it. Why shouldn't Americans pay that for it?
Well, you guys are locked and loaded, ready to go. Tell us about how you're going to grow the business.
Well, I think fundamentally it comes down to having the right team in place, partnering with outside content providers. Again, that's very novel, right? We're willing to work with people in Europe. You look at the group, it's MAN, GLG, it's PIMCO. We're looking for best of breed product to solve problems for our investor customers. Also, all we do is ETFs. It's a single source. I got to tell you, back when I was still with iShares, I'm very proud of the work I did there. When Source got launched, that was the competitor I worried most about long term. It's such a fundamentally different model that it's where I think the whole industry will end up in time, but the kind of things we'll be bringing to the US soon.
That's great. So the idea is build it yourself, partner with others, and heard you have a little bit of a piggy bank too, so you might be shopping around.
Well, when I was working with Warburg Pincus, we associated in the original founders and still shareholders are Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Nomura, and JP Morgan. Each of them made the conscious decision not to build their own line of ETFs, but rather to set up an independent company that they thought would be the successful one. So it's great to have all the resources lined up, whether it's capital, insight, management, relationships. We're ready, it's worked well in Europe and we're ready to go in the US.
Well, we're cheering for you and best of luck, guys. Thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.